I'm Sam.
And I'm Meddi.
Welcome to the Community On Demand Virtual AI Money Guide podcast.
In this episode, we are doing a deep dive on understanding the impact of your decisions.
Welcome to your deep dive. It seems like you're really interested in improving your decision making.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting how all these different ideas, skill development, critical thinking, even entrepreneurship, they all kind of tie together.
Oh, absolutely. And I noticed in the materials too how everyday decisions you make can really affect your career and even your community.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that really stood out to me was this bag of chips strategic planning thing.
Oh, yeah.
It seems so simple at first, but I think there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a good example of how even small choices can be a part of bigger systems.
Yeah.
But before we get too far ahead, let's go back to basics for a minute.
Okay.
One thing that stuck out to me was the idea of decision making as a skill, something you learn.
That is really encouraging because, a lot of people think you're either good or bad at decisions.
Yeah.
But to know you can actually improve is huge.
Totally. It's not like some talent you're born with, you can get better at it.
Right.
So thinking about that, what do you think is the main thing that drives your decisions? The materials talk a lot about intentions.
Yeah, and that makes me think of the question in the materials, why are you here?
Yeah.
You're here listening, but on a deeper level, knowing your why is really important for making good choices.
Exactly. Every decision comes from some kind of intention, even if you don't realize it.
Yeah.
And speaking of things we might not realize, there's this idea of the rules of the game.
Yes. It's like we're all playing this game, but we don't know all the rules.
That's a great way to put it. And these rules are always affecting our decisions, whether we know it or not.
So how do we even figure out what these rules are? Is there anything in the materials about that?
There is. They talk about this framework of build, fix, break, maintain. It helps you see what your tendencies are when you make decisions. Think about your own recent decisions. Do you usually build on something or fix a problem? Are you breaking away from something or trying to keep things the same?
That's a good question. I think I probably do a mix of all of those throughout the day. But it would be helpful to know which one I do most often.
Definitely. And once you see those patterns, you can start to make better choices, ones that actually help you reach your goals.
Mm-hmm.
And to bring this back to real life, remember that bag of chips thing we talked about? That seems like a perfect example.
Okay, I'm curious about that one. How does a bag of chips show us about complex decision-making?
Well, think about it. You have this bag of chips, right? Seems simple, but behind it, there are so many decisions that had to be made, from growing the potatoes to getting them to the store and even dealing with the trash afterwards.
Wow, I never thought of it like that. It really shows you how everything is connected and how even small decisions can affect those bigger systems.
Exactly. And to deal with all that complexity, the materials introduce this thing called the STEAM Investigative Process, or SI Roadmap. It's basically a 5-step framework for breaking down problems and making smarter decisions.
So it's like a roadmap for making good decisions. I like that. What are the steps? Okay, I'm ready. Tell me about this SIP roadmap. What are the 5 phases?
Well, the 5 phases are research, design, plan, coordinate, and evaluate. They kind of build on each other so you have a good system for solving problems.
Sounds pretty thorough.
Yeah.
But I learn best by doing things. Could we maybe use that bag of chips example to see how each phase works?
Definitely. Let's imagine there's a big potato chip shortage. We can use the SIP roadmap to figure out what to do. First up is research.
So in the research phase, we'd be trying to find out what's causing this shortage, right? Like detectives looking for clues.
Exactly. You got to dig deep and ask the right questions. Is there a problem with the potato crops? Is the supply chain messed up? Maybe people are just suddenly buying way more chips than usual. You got to figure out what's going on before you can even start thinking about fixing it.
Makes sense. Once we know the root cause, then we move on to design, right?
Right.
So what happens there?
That's where the brainstorming comes in. We think of all sorts of possible solutions, like maybe we could get potatoes from somewhere else, or maybe we can make the chips faster, or even try different ingredients. Or packaging design is all about coming up with ideas and seeing if they'll work.
So it's about thinking outside the bag. Get it. But seriously, what's the next step?
Then it's time to plan. We take the solution we like best and make a plan for actually doing it. We set deadlines, figure out what resources we need, and think about any problems that might come up. It's like making a blueprint.
So we go from ideas to an actual strategy. Then we got to make it happen, which is where coordinate comes in.
Exactly. That's all about getting the right people and resources together and putting the plan into action. Communication and teamwork are super important here. Everyone needs to be on the same page, working towards the same goal.
Lots of moving pieces,
Yeah.
but that roadmap helps keep things organized. And last but not least, we have evaluate.
Yeah, and this part is often forgotten, but it's really important. We got to look back and see if our solution actually worked. Were there any unexpected problems? What did we learn that can help us make better decisions in the future? Evaluate is all about learning from our experiences.
So it's like a cycle, always learning and getting better. I can see how this could apply to all kinds of situations, not just potato chips.
Totally. And remember those community on-demand skill cards. Those can be really useful for visualizing the SEPI roadmap and understanding each phase.
I love having tools that make things easier to understand. It's like having a cheat sheet for making better decisions.
Yeah.
But it's not just about tools, right? We also need to remember our why and make decisions that match our goals.
You got it. And that takes us back to the question, why are you here? Having the right tools is great, but they won't do much if you don't know what you're trying to achieve.
It's like having a compass but not knowing where you want to go. We need both to really get somewhere.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with a question. What's one small decision you can make today that will help you reach your goals?
That's a good one. It reminds us that even little choices matter, especially if they're taking us in the right direction.
Exactly. It's about making those choices one step at a time. And speaking of steps, let's move on to those community on-demand skill cards and see how they can help.
So these community on-demand skill cards sound really interesting. I'm very visual, so being able to see the decision-making process would be helpful.
Yeah, they can really help make those ideas more concrete and, less in your head.
Hmm?
I think seeing it laid out can make a big difference.
So how do they actually work? What kind of stuff is on them?
Well, they have all sorts of prompts and exercises about different parts of making decisions.
Okay.
Some cards help you figure out your values. Others might help you analyze your options or think about what might happen.
It's like a toolbox for decisions. Each card is a different tool.
Exactly.
And you can use them with the SEPI roadmap, too.
Yep. You can actually use them to map out each step of the roadmap.
Oh, cool.
Like during the research phase, there might be cards that help you get info from different places or question what you think you already know.
That's a great way to make it more interactive. I can see how these cards would be really useful for anyone who wants to get better at making decisions.
And what's cool is that when you start making better decisions in one part of your life, it kind of spills over into other areas too.
It's like a ripple effect.
Yeah, exactly.
The more you practice making good choices, the better you get at it. And that confidence can help you in all parts of your life.
For sure. And that can have a big impact not just on you, but on your work and your community too.
Speaking of community, it makes me think back to the bag of chips exercise and how it showed how connected everything is.
Mm-hmm.
As we become better decision makers, we also become better at working together and solving problems and making things better for everyone.
Exactly. It's all connected. Our
Yeah.
choices, even the small ones, can make a difference in the world.
This deep dive has been amazing. I feel like I have so much more to think about, and I'm excited to actually use what I've learned. I definitely want to check out those community on-demand skill cards.
Yeah, they're a great resource. And remember, every decision is a chance to learn and grow. Like they say, even a long journey starts with just one step.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.